They brought a predator cub to scare the class. It fell asleep in the human's arms. The Xenobiology lecture hall buzzed with nervous energy as Professor Velar, a towering crayon with iridescent scales, prepared for the day's demonstration. The students, a mix of species from across the Galactic Coalition, shifted in their seats, their various appendages tapping anxiously against desks. Today, Velar announced, his voice resonating through the chamber, we examine apex predators and their behavioral patterns. Leonardo sat in the back row, his human frame dwarfed by the hulking Vraxians beside him. Next to him, Phoebe scribbled notes, her dark hair falling across her face as she focused on her datapad. They were the only two humans in the advanced Xenobiology program at the Coalition Academy, a fact that made them objects of both curiosity and caution. The door hissed open and two security officers entered, guiding a hovering containment unit between them. Inside, visible through the transparent walls, was a creature that made half the class recoil. It was a Scarix cub, barely 3 months old, but already the size of Allard's dog. Its obsidian fur rippled over corded muscle, and its 6 eyes gleamed with predatory intelligence. Rows of crystalline teeth lined its powerful jaws designed to crush bone and tear through the toughest hides. The Scarix, Velar continued, is classified as an alpha-tier predator, native to the deathworld of Krevnar, where gravity is twice galactic standard and survival is measured in moments. Even as juveniles, they are capable of taking down prey 5 times their size. A Kalian student in the front row whimpered, their tentacles wrapping protectively around their body. The Vraxian next to Leonardo, despite being built like a tank, leaned away from the containment unit. Now, the professor said, manipulating the controls, observe its reaction to various species. The containment field dropped slightly, and the cub's attention snapped to a trembling Flexian volunteer. Immediately, the Scar's posture shifted, shoulders lowered, haunches tensed. A predatory stance that triggered every flight instinct in the room. The Flexian stumbled backward, chittering in distress. Velar nodded approvingly. You see, the Scarix recognizes prey species instinctively. Now, let us try with species higher on the food chain. A brave Thorin stepped forward, their rocky carapace offering natural armor. The cub's eyes narrowed, analyzing, calculating threat levels. It growled a sound like grinding stone, but didn't attack. Respect for a potential equal. Fascinating, Velar murmured. And now, 4 human participants. Leonardo, Phoebe, would one of you approach? The room fell silent. Every student knew thermers about humans, the whispers that circulated through the academy. They came from a death world called Earth, where the gravity was crushing, the atmosphere corrosive with oxygen, and predators stalked every continent. But they looked so soft, so fragile. Leonardo glanced at Phoebe, who nodded encouragingly. He stood, his movements casual, unconcerned. As he walked toward the containment unit, he noticed the other students watching with morbid fascination, expecting the human to trigger the cub's most aggressive response. The Scarix cub's 6 eyes locked onto Leonardo, its nostrils flared, analyzing his scent. Then something unexpected happened. The cub's ears, previously pinned back in aggression, perked forward. Its tail, which had been lashing like a whip, began to wag hesitantly. The predatory crouch melted into something else entirely. Curiosity. Extraordinary. Velar breathed. Leonardo knelt down, bringing himself to the cub's level. Hey there, little one, he said softly, extending his hand slowly, palm down. The universal, non-threatening gesture Earth's predators understood. The Scarix sniffed cautiously, then pressed its massive head against Leonardo's hand. A sound emerged from its chest. Not a growl, but a purr like rumbling thunder. This is unprecedented, the professor stammered. The Scarix doesn't display submissive behavior. They're apex predators from birth. Leonardo scratched behind the cub's ears, finding the spot that made its rear leg kick reflexively. The class watched in stunned silence as the fearsome predator essentially melted, rolling onto its back to expose its vulnerable belly. Leonardo, Phoebe called from her seat, grinning, you've made a friend. Without thinking, Leonardo scooped the cub into his arms. It should have been impossible. The creature weighed at least 40 kilo, but humans carried such weights routinely on their death world. The Scarix curled into his chest, tucking its head under his chin, and within moments began to snore softly. The lecture hall erupted in confused chatter. Velar approached slowly, his scientific mind racing. "Explain this, Leonardo. Why does it respond to you this way?" Leonardo shrugged, absently stroking the cub's fur. "I grew up with dogs and cats. This little guy's body language is pretty similar. He was scared, not aggressive. All that posturing, that's what young predators do when they're nervous in unfamiliar territory." "Scared?" A Krell student spoke up, their voice incredulous. "That creature fears nothing. Everything fears something," Phoebe interjected, joining Leonardo. She gently touched the cub's paw, and it didn't even stir. "He's a baby, taken from his mother, surrounded by strange smells and sounds. Of course he's frightened." Velar's scales shifted through colors indicating deep thought. "But why trust the humans? You're predators yourselves. We've seen your anatomy, your forward-facing eyes, your endurance capabilities." Leonardo met the professor's gaze. Maybe that's exactly why. He recognized something in us. We're not prey pretending to be safe, and we're not competitors trying to dominate. We're just familiar. Maybe there's another factor, Phoebe added, her analytical mind engaging. Humans are persistence predators. We're patient. We don't trigger the fight-or-flight response the same way ambush predators do. We're Theons who show up calmly, consistently, until we're not a threat anymore. We're family. The cub shifted in Leonardo's arms, making a small chirping sound in its sleep. One massive paw stretched out, claws carefully retracted and dressed it against his chest in complete trust. Bethar stared at the scene, something like understanding dawning in his ancient eyes. "The stories about humans," he said quietly. "We thought they were exaggerations. That you befriended the predators of your world, that you turned wolves into companions, that you domesticated creatures that should have eaten you." "Not stories," Leonardo said, smiling down at the sleeping cub. "Just Tuesday on Earth." The professor looked at his class at the mixture of fear and wonder on their faces. "Let this be your lesson today. Humans are perhaps the most dangerous predator in the galaxy, not because of their strength or speed, but because they possess something far more powerful. The ability to turn enemies into friends, predators into family. They don't just survive on their death world. They thrive by building connections even nature never intended." As the class ended, Leonardo carefully placed the still-sleeping Scarix cubback into its containment unit. The creature wed softly, reaching for him even in sleep. Phoebe touched his shoulder, and they shared a knowing smile. Later, as they walked through the academy corridors, Leonardo's data pad chimed. A message from Professor Velar. "The Scarix breeding facility has requested you both for their socialization program. Interested?" Phoebe laughed. "Looks like you've started something." Leonardo grinned. "Want to go teach alien apex predators that humans give the best belly rubs." Obviously behind them, the galaxy was learning what Earth had known for millennia. Humans didn't conquer through fear. They conquered through friendship. And that was far more terrifying.